Well, hello, hello. This is Karin Zoe Lee, and you're listening to Lotus Moon Productions. Welcome to LMP Music. Whatever the music, whatever the tune, we're here to learn, discuss, and promote the independent music scene. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the next 45 minutes as Shugo Hanasaki tackles the music industry one artist at a time.
Welcome back to the music side of Lotus Moon Productions. Today we're focusing on an artist from the United Kingdom who is signed with Laserdisc Records. He has recently released his first album entitled Memories from the Future back in April 2020, and his most recent single entitled Meet Again has been jamming through all of the synthwave lovers' ears since March. I'm very excited to introduce and hear all about the beginning of this artist's career and what's next for him as well. So without further ado, please help me welcome Liam from Liam Leon. How's it going today, bud?
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Oh, that's great. It's really great to have you again. And I just connected with you there last Saturday, I believe it was. We had a little Skype party, which was an absolute blast. We had quite a few artists there.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was a lot of people I didn't know, but it was really nice to meet people. But I had a really good time. Thank you for inviting me to that.
Yeah, and we're gonna do another one in July. So if anybody's listening and you want to be part of it, feel free to PM me, and I'd love to have you on. So yeah, it was a fantastic turnout, and we just chatted about synthwave, we chatted about each other, we chatted about the world, everything, and it was just, I think we went on for 4, 5, 6 hours. Some people stuck around for 2 hours.
Quite a while. It was so good though.
Yeah, it really was. I had a blast. But it's great to have you on the show, and I can't wait to start talking about your career and where everything came from. So as everybody knows, at the beginning of the podcast, I like to dive into the origins of the artist and where they've come from. And one of the things that I read on your official Facebook was that you were given a gift in high school that started your journey as an electronic synthwave artist. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's true. It was a long time ago now, but I do remember what happened was it was just a random gift I got given from my dad. He bought me this music program, and I just instantly fell in love with it. I was making beats, I was learning things, and it was funny because normally when you get given gifts like that, it kind of like fizzles out a little bit. But with this, I just kept going, and it was like I genuinely fell in love with it, and then I wanted to, as I got older, I expanded and onto new things, different things. But yeah, that's kind of how it started. That's kind of where my passion came from. I was good at it. I knew I could do something good with that. So yeah.
That's really cool. I really like that. And like, what inspirations have you had over the years? Like, obviously you're pretty young, and but I mean, creating synthwave music, it doesn't really matter how old you are. It's all about how you make the audience feel. And I mean, I imagine you might have inspirations from the 80s. You might have inspirations from modern day synthwave artists.
Yeah, a bit of both, definitely. The 80s was a few years ago. I kind of delved into that. I started to realize that their music was very much what I enjoy making in music. It was very uplifting. It was very happy. Made you want to dance, things like that. Made people feel inspired. Because that's kind of the genre I really gravitate towards. When I write music, I like to focus on the things being happy and uplifting and motivating, rather than some people go a different direction. So that was a big part of it. But I obviously enjoy modern pop music as well. I'm a big fan of a lot. I know Owl City is one of them. I love their music like so much. It was more the precise music engineering that I loved about their music. Everything was perfect, and it just resonated with me so much. And I learned a lot from them as well. It wasn't just me enjoying it. Like, I learned so much from both those genres, and it inspires me every more to do more music. So I think that's where it all comes from, for sure.
I had to laugh there just a little bit because I know on your Instagram it mentions Owl City, and a lot of people say that you sound like Owl City, and it's true. You really do. You have that same kind of voice and feel, and it's crazy. Like on a joking level, I was talking to my partner before our Skype chat last week, like before the party, and I was like, "You watch, it's gonna be Adam from Owl City who pops up, and not Liam."
that had happened,
it's
I
like,
would have died.
yeah, it's like Adam's secret project, Liam Leon. But no, man, you're making it your own, and you're creating amazing music. And I mean, you released an incredible debut album. And with my guests, whether you're a new listener or a returning listener, dear viewer, I love diving into the background of a few tracks of my artist of the hour. So expect to hear a few preview clips throughout the show, and we even have a new preview at the end of the show. So stay tuned for that. We're going to jump back to April 2020 and discuss a couple of tracks off your debut album, and then we'll dive into your most recent release, Meet Again. How's that sound, Liam?
It sounds great. Let's get into it.
Perfect. Well, let's start off with More For Me to See from Memories from the Future. So here's a 45-second clip, and then once we return, we will talk all about it. Now, this track always has me jamming. It almost sounds like a crossover between synthwave and drum and bass, but putting the genre aside, as listeners know, and I'm sure you know as well, when you hear a song, people can get various perceptions out of it. From my point of view, the lyrics speak about someone trying to move on to the future, but certain ties are holding them back despite them wanting to see what is out there. Which brings me to my question. Where did the inspiration come behind this specific track, and what were you trying to get across to your listeners?
I think, I mean, it was more when you personally sometimes feel like you may be a bit stuck in a little bit of a rut. I know a lot of people feel that for sure. And that's kind of where it came from. And when it comes to, especially like with the lyric writing, I kind of like to be more precise about the point I'm trying to make, which is maybe why it sounds so blunt. I know a lot of artists like to sort of use like to trickle the way into what it is they're trying to get across to their audience, but I was just like, no, this is what I wanted to make. This is kind of how I'm feeling right now. Let's sit down and write an entire song about it, and try and delve into, you know, why I'm feeling this way, why other people might feel this way, and what can we do to get out of this situation, get out of this rut. And going back to being, you know, motivating, uplifting from like the 80s inspired music, I combined it with that essentially, and that's kind of More For Me to See was what was born from it, really. It was just that one time moment that engulfed into this song, because I knew it meant so much. I felt it so much. I need to do something with this, and that's kind of how it was born, really.
That's really cool, man. I love that, and I like that's the thing. Like when I ask these questions to artists, I get such different answers but with the same question, and I love hearing how tracks came together. Like when you're creating a song, do you have a melody in mind first, or do you write the lyrics?
I tend to go for the melody first. Obviously the music part, the making music part, is like the big fun part for me. So I kind of do that, you know, obviously for fun. I try to come up with something, and then as soon as I hear something, maybe like a good chord progression, or like if I've designed something that I really like, I can sort of sense what's going to become of that, and I try maybe halfway through on making it, I'll maybe go and sit and write some lyrics for it. What's going to fit this song? What's this song making me feel like? What type of history, emotions, and memories that I've conjured up from this music, and what can I write about it? And then it all sort of merges together about halfway through, I'd say.
That's really cool, man. That's really cool. Now, before we listen to the second preview of the hour and share more of memories from the future, I wanted to give a shout out to some of your older works on SoundCloud that people may not be familiar with from 5 to 6 years ago. Tracks like Make You Feel Alive, Keep Going, When We Were Young, Diamond Flight, and Take Me Away. Like, will these tracks ever be remastered or released in the future, perhaps on a B-side?
Possibly. That's a really good question. Obviously, yeah, I made them way before I got signed to Laserdiscs. Again, they was just something that I think I was still in the sort of practice stage. I was making them and I was happy with them, but I knew something wasn't quite there. I'd say maybe personally, I was making it for the sake of making it. But I do, looking back at them now, they've completely changed in my opinion to what I thought when I actually made them. And it's quite nostalgic to go back and listen to them. But I really like that people are still listening to them and they do like them. So I want to keep them up there.
Yeah, they're great, man. They're absolutely great. And I mean, it's like you already have a feature EP waiting to be released there on SoundCloud.
Exactly. That's right. That's exactly what it's for.
It's just waiting, it's just sitting
Yeah.
there. But, I mean, man, if you ever release those on a CD, like with Memories from the Future as well, like I would purchase that immediately because it does share a slightly different sound to who you are now. Obviously, we evolve, we change, we adapt over time,
Mhm.
but it still has that electronic, fresh feel to it, and so some of them really, really stand out. Like a couple of my favorites were a Diamond Flight for sure, and what was the other one? Make You Feel Alive. Yeah, those ones were my favorite, but all of them were great to listen to.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Diamond Flight, I think, is going to be one of my favorites. So I also like Roller Coaster. That's on there. I'm quite happy with that one. I listen to that now and again. It's a
Yes, yes.
melody.
What was that? That was released most what 1-2 years ago?
I think so. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Again, that was just I made something. I really liked the chord progression that I did in that, and I thought I need to finish this song, even if nothing comes of it. I just need to finish it because I was really happy making that one. Um, yeah, that's a big one for me. I like that one.
Now, a couple of months before the release of your debut album, you released a fantastic cover of Music Sounds Better With You, but by Stardust. I mean, like, what inspired you to tackle that specific song, and will there be more covers in the future?
Oh, I completely forgot about that. That's a good question. Yeah, that I really do like that song. For one thing, I really do love that song. I love, Stardust. I was a big fan of when that song came out for sure. What happened with that was I was just making something. I was again just mixing around with sims and chords and things like that. And as I was making it, I kind of heard what I'd made, and I could hear them vocals in the back of my head whilst I was playing it. And I thought, I don't know what else to do with this song. But when I heard that, I was like, now I know what to do with this song. I need to do a cover because it's reminding me of The Music Sounds Better With You. And so I just essentially just tested it out and see if it fit, and it did. And I thought, now I'm fully happy with this song. This song is complete. This is what I had to make this song. It wasn't going to be an original. It's going to be a cover, but so what? That's what made that song complete to me. So yeah, and I was really happy that it was that song because I love that song.
That's awesome. I love it. And I mean, can we expect more covers from you in the future?
Possibly. There are so many songs out there that I listen to that I think, oh my God, I would love to do a cover of this song, and it could be completely different from one another. As an example, there's a song called Raindrops by Stunt. It was a very old kind of dance song. Um, and it's kind of simple, but it's just such a good beat that I can vibe to. And I thought I could do this. I could cover this song. So potentially I might give that one a go. Um, but yeah, if things inspire me that much, I definitely think there'll be more covers coming as well, with my own take on it, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to hear more covers from you because you nailed Music Sounds Better With You, and I'm not actually familiar with the original of the song that you were just talking about, but either way, I mean your music is fantastic, so I'm sure I'll love it.
Thank you.
I mean with Music Sounds Better With You, Roller Coaster, Diamond Flight, Take Me Away, When We Were Young, Keep Going, Feel Alive. I mean, goodness, there's you there's your next album right there.
It's done. I don't have to do anything. It's already
Yeah,
there.
it's already there, just done. Yeah, just now getting back to memories from the future. The second clip I wanted to share with the audience was "This Is the Future 3030." Now, I think this may be my favorite track of the album. I think it also represents the entire album very well, too. As on Bandcamp, it mentions that this album is from January 24th, 3030. So before we dive into the background track, how about let's share a clip with the audience?
Yeah, sounds good. I really like that one as well.
Sweet. Well, here it is. This is the feature 3030 by Leon off his debut album, Memories from the Future. Now, as I mentioned before the preview track, this track is my favorite song on the album. I love the opening sounds and the lyrics, and I'd love to know where the inspiration for this song came from as well, as the entire album, as you wash away your listeners' worries by telling them, don't worry, we're going to be all right. And also, I'm quite intrigued that it said January 24, 3030. What's the meaning behind that?
I'm not too sure. January 24. Is that when I might have made it? I can't remember. I think it was. Well, I know the inspiration for the song came from a friend of mine. It was when I was making More for Me to See. It kind of stemmed from that, and I think honestly, I think 3030 was something. It was just like exactly 1,000 years. And 1,010 years, is that right? 1,010. But it just kind of sounded right with what I was wanting to make, and I was like, obviously sometimes lyrics and vocals have to fit with what you're making, so it wasn't very. Oh, I think you're talking about the actual information for the that was written for the album. I think that's what you're referring to. That is a reference to my best friend's daughter, Scarlett, which is also a track on the album. It's her birthday. That's why it's there.
That's pretty cool. I mean, are you sure you're not from the future?
Exactly.
I mean, you couldn't tell me even if you were, but are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
now, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
3030 was just something that I thought fit with the actual song. It was way in the future. It couldn't be anything that could be referenced to, so it was it allowed me to just be completely creative and make something up completely as a huge a different way of saying, whatever's going to come ahead, we're going to be okay. No matter where you are or where you end up, everything's going to be all right. You can work through it. And that was really a message to my friend that was going through, again, similar situations, feeling stuck in a rut, but then something maybe big changes and it can kind of scare you a little bit, but it's going to be all right. You're going to get through it. It's no matter where you are or what time period you're in, it's going to be fine. That's kind of where it came from.
That's great, man. It really is. I mean, as people say, I mean, this too shall pass, right? Just when we're in a bad spot and we think, how do we get out of this? This too shall pass. And I guess that the future 3030 is one of those songs that just motivates people to let them know that everything's going to be all right.
Yeah, change is okay. No matter what it is, change can be okay. It can be good. So that's where it came from.
Not for cats.
No.
Cats don't like change.
I should write that.
Yeah,
that as a song afterwards, but it's not okay for cats.
Yeah, it's not okay for cats. Now, one thing I wanted to talk about before we moved on to our next preview of the podcast was your collaborations with Castro.
Yeah.
Yeah. You two collaborated twice, I believe. Beaten and Take My Hand. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. He came and asked me to record vocals for them for two of his songs. and they're the ones that he sent me, and I really liked them. I really liked Beaten. That was really, really good. But I was so happy that he asked me to do the second one with. He wanted another female artist, and again, my best friend, she's a singer. She's not really out there or anything, but she is a really good singer, and I love the sound of her voice. So it was so nice to actually work with her in the studio. I brought her in, we chilled out, and we wrote some lyrics down. And I said, "This is my part, this is your part, and let's get to it." And we recorded some bars, and it was so much fun.
I think Take My Hand is my favorite out of the two, but I highly suggest people check them both out, which brings me to my question too about collaborations. Are there more collaborations on the horizon to come? Are there artists out there who you would love to collaborate with?
There are a few collaborations. I do get asked frequently to record for people's music. And I always listen to it. I always say, yeah, send me the instrumental. If I can feel something, if something's there that I can work with, then let's do it. I don't, it'll be fun to do, and I can write something down. And again, it's all enjoyment process. But I think off the top of my head, I think there's a song coming out by an artist called Ukras. I think he's called Uras. It's kind of more like a dancey track. But he sent me a lovely message and sent me a really good track that I really liked. And I said, yeah, I can do something for you. So I listened to it, whatever came to mind. I started to write down some lyrics and got recording. And then I think that he said today, actually, it might be coming out in June. But with these things, it's obviously hard to tell, when your work's coming out, when it's to do with someone else. But yeah, there's a few more. There's a fair few more that I'm recording for as well, which is cool.
That's really cool, man. What synthwave artists in the community right now? Who would you, if you could right now, name a couple of synthwave artists that you would love to collaborate with?
Well, I am going to have to say one of the leading ones is The Midnight. I am a huge fan of The Midnight. I love their work so much, especially their album Monsters.
Yes.
It was so good, and I know it was a little bit of a different take than what they've previously done. But again, me personally, I do like the old style 80s synthwave, and I do like modern pop music. So that merge of them both together was just amazing for me. It was so good. So I would love to be able to record for them one day. That would be great. That would be really, really good. And the next one, I've listened to a few of Time Cop. Is it 1983, I think?
Yeah, 1983.
Yeah, his music, especially, I listened to a track called Falling that he made. And I've been singing that over and over again. And I love his music. I know he's kind of stuck to the same 80s vibe, which is so amazing, because every time he does something new, it still sounds different than what he's done before, but we're still within the same genre, which I love. So to work with him will be amazing. So if he's listening, I'm ready to record for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Time Cop 1983 is phenomenal, and so is The Midnight. And even, the two of them even made a song together called Static, which is still one of my favorite songs.
Oh, I need to hear that. Hear that.
Have you not heard the collaboration between them?
I haven't. Oh, no.
Well, as soon as this podcast is over, my friend, you got to go listen to it. It's called Static, and it's fantastic. It really is.
Oh, that's definitely on my playlist.
For sure. And honestly, with you collaborating with The Midnight, I mean, Tyler and Tim, they bring something magic. They truly do bring something magical to the table when they create music. Like, yes, Monsters was a little bit different than their previous sounds, but at the end of the day, there's something special and unique about The Midnight's music. And I mean, we spoke about this a week ago during the synthwave party, I guess, as you call it. And I Monsters was fantastic. I own all of their vinyls, and I can't wait to see what comes next. But you and Tyler, I think, would sound fantastic together. So I mean, I really do hope for you, man, that you can collaborate with Tim and Tyler, because I think you guys would smash it.
Oh, thank you. That would be amazing. That would be so good. It's just that what they make, it just has such a strong connection with me. Again, I think it's more to do with the music behind it, for sure. Just like such creative chords and sounds that they create. It's just so inspiring. Again, it's one of the things on my list that makes me do what I do. Definitely.
Yeah, like for some reason, I don't know why, but I mean, many artists do this, but the Midnight has something special where it unlocks nostalgic feelings from memories that I've never had. If that even makes sense.
Exactly. I know exactly what you mean. Don't worry.
Yeah, like I'm listening to this song and I'm having these memories and I'm like, wait a second, I didn't do that, but how is this doing? Like,
it's like the song Prom Night. It's like it reminds me of when I went to the prom, but I never went to the prom, so I'm like, what am I thinking of?
Yeah. Yeah. Fun fact: I never went to a prom either. So there you go. Yeah, and same thing. Like there's so many tracks. I mean, honestly, I think you and I could sit here for the whole podcast and talk about the Midnight, but I don't think that's what people want. But yeah, definitely shout out to Tim and Tyler. And if you ever do listen to this, get this guy on board. Get Liam on board. Make something amazing, because I know you guys can. But getting back to your career now, congratulations, by the way, on being signed to Laserdisc Records. I imagine that's quite the honor.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't think I had any chance really, or kind of the way it happened was I was actually referred to by, there's a guy who runs an Instagram page. He runs FL Studio Tips, and it's got a lot of followers. And I think he found me on my Instagram, and he messaged to say, why don't you send your music to Laserdisc? Because I think it suits really well. And I said, oh, okay, why not? I'll take a shot. And then so I did. I sent them. I had the full album ready, and that was pretty much it. They said, yeah, we love it. We want to release the album, and I was like, oh my god, I was quite taken back, really, but I'm really thankful for it now. And it's just been amazing. It's been so good. The exposure for my music, really getting that, I'm doing something right is what I'm feeling, really validating.
Yeah, I mean, you're joining a long list of synthwave names on that record label. I mean, some just absolute Valentine, Robert Parker, Shredder 1984, Castro, as we mentioned earlier, Sierra, Nikki Nine, Empowered Nerd, and so many more artists. Like, it's which brings me to my next question. How does it feel to be part of such an amazing synthwave label, and what things have you learned as an artist since joining it? Because I imagine it's one thing to create your own music and release it by yourself, but when you're with a record label, I'm sure things are a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, for one thing, the exposure they gave has been so like overwhelming for me at times. Like I never thought it would reach the places it's reached in my music. But in terms of what I've learned, like actually from being signed, I definitely think giving myself a bit more of a life structure in terms of me producing music and rearranging that within my day-to-day life. It makes me want to have something to release people, not just do something when I feel like it, because I know that when I get into the zone of making music, I can go on for ages and ages and ages, and then at the end of it I can produce something that I'm really, really happy with. And it helps keep me sane in a way, like just being able to produce and knowing that I've got something worthwhile producing for, because of all you lovely fans that are listening, that I didn't know I had, if that makes sense. So yeah, a bit more of a structure. Like I know it's worthwhile doing something, and I can sit and I'm going to produce something. I'm going to make an EP. I'm going to make an album. I'm going to make a single, and I know it's going to be released out there. And yeah, that pretty much. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does, absolutely. Well, let's jump back to the present. We're back to 2021 now, and I want to talk about "Meet Again," of course, your most recent single. Mm-hmm. So before we dive into the background of it, do you mind if I share a 45-second preview clip?
Absolutely not. Go for it.
Sweet. All right. Here is a 45-second clip of Liam Leon's most recent single, "Meet Again." on Bandcamp, you have a in-depth view of the background of the clip that we just heard, but I'd love to discuss it here as well for anyone not familiar. On Bandcamp, in short, it describes the track as being a time capsule holding memories and feelings we know we simply can't let go of. Love the one you're with, they will be worth waiting for. Even that small summary I find is beautiful, a way to describe the track. But where did Meet Again come from? And is this the beginning to your second album? I felt it resembled the world's current situation very well.
Yeah, definitely. That is mainly where it came from. Obviously, everyone's been going through this pandemic and lockdown here in the UK, especially. We just got reminded every day, we can't do this, we can't do that, and a lot of people obviously felt really lonely, and again, really stuck with what to do. And as much as, with social media and things like that, we can always keep in contact with our loved ones, friends and relatives, things like that. But it's just, to reference the lyric, it just isn't the same, if that makes sense. It's just so much more endearing to, to see people face to face. And we couldn't do that for a long, long time. And at the start, it was okay, we knew what we was in for, but after a certain amount of time, it really started to grate on a lot of people, and especially me. I really wanted to see people face to face, and again, I needed an outlet. What can I do? And I thought I need to write something about this, and I think that was maybe one of the first ones where maybe the lyrics maybe came first, because they were so strong, and I knew what was going on in my head straight away, and I had to write it down before, I had to write everything down, and then the music kind of came after that. Again, I referred it back to being quite, motivating, uplifting, but it's kind of got a bit of a undertone of, sadness and nostalgia and things like that. So that's where Meet Again came from, really.
That's fantastic. I mean, even in dark times, you're able to create such an amazing, beautiful track, and that just goes to show how creative people are around the world. I mean, I spoke about something similar with Cymatica back on episode 17 that I highly recommend people check out. She wrote Tarina from Cymatica. She wrote Hours, kind of based on the same thing. The pandemic, sitting at home, just hours going by, and it was one of my favorite tracks. And I was like, if the pandemic never hit, and don't worry, trust me, I wish it never did. We all wish it never did. But the fact that people can create such amazing things out of it, whether it be artwork, whether it be music, whether it just be a project, anything, just being productive in such a dark time. And I keep getting favorites out of all of this. Like Hours from Cymatica is one of my favorite songs in the last couple of years. When it first came out, recently, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this track. I really, really do. And here it was made because of the pandemic. So, and yet again, here we are with Meet Again, and another fantastic track that I love to jam to, but it would never have been created had the pandemic never hit.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. It's kind of bittersweet, I'd say.
Yeah,
for sure.
Bittersweet symphony, as they say. So now, before we end things on the music side of things, you wanted to share a new preview.
Yeah, that's right.
And so if you could tell the audience before we share this preview, what is this song about? And will it be on the new album? Will it be there with Meet Again? Will Meet Again be part of an EP with this song?
Possibly. I don't know if Meet Again might just stay as a standalone single in sort of representation of what's happened, and we're slowly coming out of it now, which is good.
Yeah.
So it might be a little remnant of this time period. But I am working on a new EP that I want to release. I have a few tracks lined up for it, and the sample you're about to hear is one of them. It's still kind of unnamed, but I think I know the name of it maybe already. And again, it kind of stemmed from I was making the music, and I was listening to it over and over and sort of thinking, what is this song making me feel? And it was kind of, I think what had happened was it was being made, I was doing it too fast, if that makes sense. I was making it too fast, and it was sort of like repeating on me a little bit, and I thought this is where this song's going to go, and so it kind of felt like I was. Well, I'd say the song, the lyrics of the song is falling. That's like the main chorus part. I think something along those lines. Yeah, it kind of worked like that. But that's kind of where it led, and it's still a little bit of a work in progress now. So, but yeah, it'll be finished soon. Is that okay?
Okay, yeah, it's great. And I mean, I'm curious about, like, I mean, obviously this is just, this will be my first time sharing this preview. Obviously nobody has really heard this thing before, but I'm curious about what the whole song is going to be about when it's released. And there's my Canadian accent right there, by the way, a boot.
No, so good. So the song, it was mainly about kind of when things are moving too fast for you, if that makes sense. Like when things around you are moving too quickly, might maybe like a change of job or something like that, or change of scenery, again something different, referring back to like kind of what my old album was a little bit, but that same sort of mentality of there's things around you moving too quickly, and you kind of don't know where to look, left or right, things like that. And it was just kind of, I was just going through maybe some like few personal changes, obviously within my professional life and work life and things like that. And I think it was kind of becoming a little bit overbearing at times. I think what also triggered it was the release of like the lockdown. Everyone's got so used to kind of, staying at home and being, self-reliant and things like that. And then suddenly everything's released and we can go back out and we can socialize and mingle. And obviously a lot of people are sort of like, they haven't been used to it for that long of a time. And I was one of them. And I think that's where the song kind of came from, for sure. Just things moving a little bit too quickly, and learning to sort of, it's okay to go at a steady pace. I think that's the kind of message I wanted to tell people. So yeah.
That's great. That's great. I can't wait to hear the full version of it. And so without further ado, we will not keep the audience any waiting. And here's a little clip of the untitled track off of Liam Leon's future EP.
Still think you know me, you still wanna show me you're so far up in the sky, you're taking me so high, and now I'm falling, yeah, I'm falling, I can't seem to hold on anymore, and I'm falling, yeah, I'm falling, I found my wings so I can soar.
So we're now back from that preview, and I've already heard it. I've played it for people. I've listened to it before we came on the show as well, and I really can't wait for people to hear what's next for you. And I do like what you mentioned about Meet Again being a standalone single representing the pandemic and everything. That makes a lot of sense, and I agree with that. I really do. I mean, it doesn't really matter what I think anyway, but I think it's a really good. I think it's a really good creative choice, just to have that representation of that dark time that you were able to make light out of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Nostalgic.
Yeah.
It will become.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, well, thank you so much for sharing so much about your music career. I feel like we've learned a lot about you today.
Oh, thank you again for allowing me to tell you everything. It's so nice to get to do this. Thank you.
No worries, man. And usually with my guests out around this time, we usually have 5-10 minutes left in the show, and this is where I love learning about an artist outside of their musical background and more of what they enjoy outside of music. Like, you can share with the audience whatever you like. I mean, you can share TV shows, movies, favorite animals, outdoor activities, favorite food. The list is endless. So what sort of hobbies or interests are you passionate about outside of music, Liam?
As I said on that last week on that chat we had, I'm just a huge fan of video games. I am a huge fan of video games. I thought getting a little older it would kind of fizzle away, but it never did, and I'm still massively in love with my video game
Yeah,
time for sure.
absolutely. Absolutely. Same here, man. I love my PlayStation. I love I had Super Nintendo when I was younger, and I never grew out of video games. I don't care how old I'm how old I'm gonna be like 65, 70 in the elderly home. Going, play my video games.
Yeah,
Nobody's
exactly.
gonna take them from
That is the dream.
Yeah, it's like, sir, you've been playing this for a little too long. Go away, nurse. I want to play my video
That's exactly.
what type of video games do you like? What genres? What titles?
So I love horror games. I'm a huge fan of Resident Evil, like huge. Ask me anything and I can answer it. That big of a fan. So,
Anything outside of Resident Evil?
so there is a fighting game. It's not as popular as Tekken, but it's called Dead or Alive. I don't know
Oh
if maybe
yes,
you
yeah.
know it. But I'm not gonna be quite modest about this. I'm actually really good at Dead or Alive. I am insanely good. It was my first time playing that game. It was my first time to take an opportunity to go to a tournament that they held in Birmingham in 2019. I didn't place anywhere, but I was still learning. I was still quite nervous as well. But yeah, I love Dead or Alive. If anyone plays that, then feel free to add me. We can pass.
Yeah, fighting games are pretty cool for me too. I've never really gotten into the Resident Evil series of the video games, but due to this throws controversy around when people love the video games and hate the movies,
It
but
movies,
I
yeah.
love the movies. I
I
love the movies.
love the movies. I really do. I follow Mila Jovovich on Instagram. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, me too. Mila Jovovich, she's absolutely amazing. She's stunning. She's beautiful. She's an amazing actress, and the whole wrap up of the Resident Evil movies, all 6 movies, I have them all on Blu-ray, and I thought it was a fantastic ending.
Yeah, I did. I loved every minute. I loved every minute of it. I've still got this. This is how much of a fan I am of Resident Evil. I still have the cinema ticket for the last film I went in 2017. That's how much.
That's really cool, man. I like
So,
that. That's pretty cool. And with fighting games, like Dead or Alive, I played Dead or Alive a little bit, and I've played Tekken, and I played Soul Calibur and Street Fighter.
mhm.
Speaking of Street Fighter, my partner and I right now are going back through the 1995 or 1996 Street Fighter anime 2V, and it's awesome. I watched it as a kid, and I'm just getting full of nostalgia.
I've played Street Fighter now and again, but I think it's more playing in the arcades that I've maybe done it, maybe not on a console. um, but but yeah, I think Dead or Alive. I played that as a kid, Dead or Alive, so that's kind of where that's come from, and I'm still in love with it today.
Well, hopefully one of these days we can meet and you can whip my ass in Dead or Alive.
Yes. Ah.
And finally, before we wrap things up, and thank you first of all for sharing a little bit about you outside of music, but what can the audience expect out of Liam Leon in the future?
I'd say a lot of collaborations that I've been asked to do and that I will want to do. In terms of, I think the next thing I'm gonna release will be an EP that I want to release. It's still be the same genre, maybe with a bit more of a pop vibe, just something a little bit different. That's kind of where my direction's taken me at the moment, and that's kind of what's happening. It will still be Liam Leon vibes, so uplifting, motivating, and all that. What people like. And I really can't wait. I can't wait to release some new stuff for the fans, because I've never experienced anything like this before, so I'm just so thankful. And again, it's just another thing on my list that makes me want to keep doing this. And so yeah, I'll say EP and a lot more collaboration. So I just really hope people stay tuned. For some new stuff.
They definitely will, man. They definitely will stay tuned because your music is fantastic, and I loved every track on your debut album, and you can just continue to smash it. So congratulations on everything that you've accomplished up to this point.
Oh, thank you so much, and again, thank you for having me. It means so much. Thank you.
Yeah, and as well as you, thank you so much for spending this hour with me. And that's where we'll wrap things up. It was so much fun speaking to you, Liam.
Yeah, you too. Let's do it again, over and over.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can once your new material comes out there, later in the fall, maybe closer to winter, have you back on the podcast, and we can talk more about what's going on with you then.
For sure, yeah, definitely. That sounds good.
Could you share your social media with everyone so newcomers know where to purchase your music?
Yeah, sure. So it's just Liam Leon for pretty much everything, really. Liam Leon on Instagram, Liam Leon on YouTube, on Facebook, and Twitter, and I believe my label's got me on Bandcamp, where you can buy my album and buy my single. So yeah, just please check it out. And I do on my Instagram, I do tend to post quite a lot of little snippets of things that maybe I'm making. So definitely check out my Instagram for more recent activity and things to look out for sure.
Sweet. Sounds good, man. Thank you so much for that. And as usual, you can find all of our socials at SoundCloud under Lotus Moon Productions, Facebook under Lotus Moon Productions, Instagram under Lotus M Productions, Spotify under LMP Music, Twitter under Lotus Moon Prod, and you can search us on YouTube under Lotus Moon Productions. This has been LMP Music. Please be kind to another. Please be safe. And with that, we are signing off.